Hey, welcome back to the My Adventure channel. This time I'm out in the woods camping, and I want to go over I've got two different Jackeries and one battery bank that I built from some stuff from batteryhookup.com. That's really simple to make. But let's go ahead and let's get into it. So these are the first two Jackeries that I bought. I bought this one first, and then this one. This one is Jackery 160, and this thing is awesome. I think this thing has got a 100-watt inverter. Yeah, it's a 100-watt inverter. It's like a 120-watt peak, so you can run a few things with this. But if you want to upgrade a little bit, this is the Jackery 300, which is a much better unit than this as far as charging capabilities are concerned. But let's just take these and divide these in half a little bit here and go from there. This one has got a little 1-watt flashlight, which is okay if you just don't have a light and you need a light. It's okay in a tent, but it's very directional. This is very easy to operate. It's got your display button right here. Tells you your inputs and your outputs, percentage of left, but it doesn't give you, percentage of, how much time you have left. But that doesn't matter to me because I can do some simple math. But this has got, it takes a barrel plug is what it does for an accessory. So you get like an accessory for like a cigarette lighter adapter that comes with this, but this is unregulated. This is a non-regulated 12 volt. So as the battery dies down, so does the voltage. So that's might be something you're interested in knowing about. It's got two USBs and a USB-C, and it's just completely simple to operate. If you operate on those little like the milliamp hour deals, where the little power banks or whatever they are, kind of think of this like that, but this is 160 watts, so it's a lot bigger than one of those single ones. I believe that would be 16,000 milliamp hours if you want to put that into perspective. But this also has, like those don't have, is an AC inverter, so you can operate some equipment with it. I've had varying results with, like, if you want to take this camping and you want to blow up your air mattress, if it has a full charge, with the AC it seems to work with my little pump that I have, and I'm not sure what the output is on it, but if it gets down to like 60%, or excuse me, like 80%, it doesn't seem to want to work. So you're going to want to check into that. The voltage drop may be enough to where it doesn't really work. But this is great if you just want to charge your phone. This will charge your phones for a week, man. This is fabulous. So, and it's really small. Just to kind of give you an example, that's my hand. That's my hand. And then that's my hand. Just to kind of give you an example. So I don't recommend this for, say, if you have a 12 volt compressor refrigerator or something like that cycles on and off. I don't really recommend that with this because it's not a regulated output. So once this thing gets down to, say, 60% or so, the voltage drops enough to where it may shut your fridge off. So I don't recommend it for that, but everything else, I mean, it's fabulous. It's not a quick charge, but I mean, it'll charge your stuff. I mean, and it's small enough you could almost take this thing backpacking. I'm not a backpacker, but you kind of get the idea. It's small enough for that. And I'm not sure what these, I'll have to annotate the price on these. Currently I've had this thing for like a year and a half. I absolutely love it. Now if you want to step up a little bit, well, before that, they also make one that's very similar to this, but it's a 240. It's basically this. It has, I think that it has a regulated output on it, but it's just 240 watts, and the inverter is a little bit bigger on it. So this, on the other hand, is the Jackery 300. This thing, I absolutely love this thing. This thing I bought because this was too small and I wanted a 12-volt compressor fridge, so I bought this instead. So the story, as the story goes, I was camping with my father and we were using his Toyota minivan, and I needed something to charge my phones, so I ended up buying this because his cigarette lighters, they shut off when the power's off to the van. So you'd have to run the van or turn the key on in order to charge any cell phones or do anything like that, and I didn't want that. So that's kind of why I bought this. This, on the other hand, was an upgrade to that one because this has two outputs. It's got a 300 watt pure sine wave inverter. This is a modified sine. It's got an in-out power delivery port, so you can charge it with this USB-C up to 60 watts, or you can power a power delivery item up to 60 watts. So I charge my laptop with this, and it works amazing. I use this thing every single day, and I've had it for over a year, and it's been absolutely trouble-free. I take that back. The first one I bought had an issue with it where it wasn't charging all the way, and the display wasn't working right, so I returned it. Got this one, have not had a problem since then. It's absolutely phenomenal. I bought this because I did buy a 12-volt compressor refrigerator, and this has a regulated output on it, but I was running into a problem to where this just wasn't a big enough battery supply. So I would have to roll into camp, because we were staying for multiple days at the same place, and this is not big enough to run a compressor refrigerator for multiple days in a row at all, without some sort of solar. I mean, you can run a solar into this, which is another thing. This thing will take 125 watts of solar into it. That's just out of here. So if you have a solar panel that has a USB-C port, you can charge it with that. So, but even with that, this is just not big enough for the camping that I was doing, which is kind of wooded, that sort of thing. You kind of got intermittent cloudy days, kind of like today, that sort of thing. This just doesn't have enough, supply in reserve to, safely power my fridge for the duration of time that I wanted to. I would basically have to show up to camp and set up a solar panel. Now, if you are, camping overnight and, you want to plug your refrigerator into this because, your outlets shut off or that sort of thing, this thing is outstanding, and it should last the entire night on your refrigerator, on pretty much all your refrigerators, I would suspect. I don't see why not. But it's got a quick charge port, and it's got a regular 5 volt 4 amp port. This is 10 amps, and I mean, I ran one of them little hot dog air compressors off of this thing, and they're like 250 watts, and I've run it with that, and it's not a problem. I use this thing every single day, and I absolutely love it. It just wasn't big enough, is the problem I was running into. Like I said, I had to go and set up a solar panel right away, if I showed up at 1 o'clock. Otherwise it might not last until the morning, especially in the summer. So, but other than that, I absolutely love this thing. If you're charging your phones and some miscellaneous other things, this will for sure power an air pump to power your air mattress and have some room to spare. You got a couple phones, that sort of thing, but you're not really powering a refrigerator, that sort of thing. This thing is absolutely outstanding, and you can put a ton of solar into it, and it'll accept it. So now let's move on to my upgrade that I built myself. So if you're looking to upgrade to something above that Jackery, I would look into Blue Eddy. Makes a two 500 watts. One of them is lithium ion and the other is lithium iron phosphate, and they also make a 700 that is also lithium iron phosphate. If you're gonna go camping for, say, a weekend and you don't want to plug your refrigerator in, I would recommend a minimum of a 500 watt power unit for sure. I don't think I would go with anything less than that for a weekend, especially if it's
partly cloudy, you can't put solar into it, or you don't want to put solar into it for whatever reason, you just want it to last for the weekend and power your fridge, I would start at a minimum with a 500 watt. That's it. Especially, like I said, if you're powering a refrigerator, because it takes more than you think to power it. My fridge takes about 275 watts, watt hours, to run the entire 24-hour period. So just to kind of give you an a sense of duration of time, I guess. So anyways, on to what I built.
So I wanted something bigger, like I said, that was in that 500 watt hour range. But after doing a bunch of stuff, Will Prowse, DIY Solar, he kind of got me into building my own batteries, and that's what we have here. This is a DIY battery, 100 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate in a milk crate. So I got these. Let me see if I can get this out of the way here. This is the battery itself. 2, 3, 4. They are consistent of 4 individual modules. Okay, so it's really simple to hook up. These are, for 4 of them, was $260, I think, shipped to my door. Batteryhookup.com. Unbelievable. So so each one of these, you basically connect these into a series connection, and it makes a 12 volt battery. And this is 100 amp hours at 12 volts. So it's like 1320 watt hours, okay? So just to kind of give you a little bit of a sense, and it was, oh, how much did I spend for everything here? I mean, I wired all this myself. Charge controller, just a cheap 250 watt Harbor Freight inverter. That's a cheap, who makes that? Dally BMS, fuse block, miscellaneous wiring, like I said, the charge controller, plus I got a Bluetooth module so I can hook it up to my phone. Without the solar panels or anything, I believe I got about $325 to $350 into this, roughly. That's wiring, the BMS, the everything, the fuse block, all of that nonsense, and it is incredibly easy to put together. I mean, you can see right here, this is positive, and then this one is negative, so you just connect them positive to negative, and on both ends, see, positive to negative, positive to negative, and you have a 12 volt battery. That's it, done. Now you just got to figure out a way to charge it, and that's it. It's incredibly simple. These come already pre-made, so like I said, all you're doing is you're putting them into series, and that's it, done. 12 volt battery, bing, have a nice day. 320 watt hours right there. So if you want to charge it with solar, because you're going to need a way to charge it, I have right now it's on my roof because it's a massive 100 watt solar panel, but I absolutely love this. This is from Rich Solar, and this panel was about 120 bucks. They call it a portable one, but I mean, honestly, it's a big panel. So this was the only place that I could put it for this trip, because as you can see, I've got other things going on. So that's just kind of where I had for room. So you can charge it with the solar. Like I said, I've got it here hooked up, and you can charge this with, this is a 30 amp charge controller. So I mean, I forget how many volts I can put into it. I'd have to look it up, but this is just from Renergy. This is also from Renergy. So this is a DC to DC 20 amp battery charger. So with lithium, any type of lithium, especially if you have a smart alternator, you can't just hook it up to your battery and run cables directly from your battery to this, because these things accept so much power. It'll just take all of it. So if you have a 120 amp alternator, it'll take all of it, and it's really hard on parts. It's really hard on parts. But that's why you don't want to do it. So that's why you gotta buy a DC to DC charge controller. This is not included with the price that I was saying here. So this was an extra, I have to look it up, but 60 or 70 bucks. But you wire this to your battery, and it takes your vehicle battery, and it takes that and takes it and converts it to something that this can use and charge with at 20 amps. So going down the road, I can charge this thing, and it's about 290 watts. So to give you kind of an idea. This, and again, this is, don't ask me too many questions here, guys, because there are just some things I just can't explain all that well, and so I'm just not going to. This is a switchable power supply that is variable voltage, and you run it off of AC. So I hook this up to this, and I plug it into my wall, and this will go 20 amps at up to 48 volts or something. So it'll only do 20 amps no matter how high you turn the voltage up, is what I'm saying. So that's it, 20 amps. So I can charge this thing from a wall at the same thing. It's like 280 watts or something like that. So that's how I charge it from home. This is only like 20 bucks, 25 bucks. So that's one way to do it. But you plug it into the charge controller, and it thinks the charge controller is like, hey, look, I got solar, and it's not. It's, well, it kind of is, but not really. But I mean, I don't have much into this stuff, and I needed something bigger. So this is what I came up with at the price that I could afford. I mean, take a look at some price points for 100 amp hour lithium or 1300 watt portable power stations, and see how much those cost. They do have more features. They do look better than this does, and they're smaller than this is. They do weigh a little bit less. So there's some pros and some cons to doing that. But for me, I'm going to eventually permanently install this because I have the Jackeries. This is going to be permanently installed in my Jeep. So having it so I wire everything myself, so I can run some lights inside of here, and put whatever's that I want in here, I can do that. And you can't really do that without spending a lot of money on one of them power stations from like Blue Eddy or Jackery. And I already have the two other Jackeries, so I don't really need this to be portable. I already have ways to charge all my items. So this is just basically to run a fridge and run my batteries for my chainsaw and some cordless things. That's what this is for. So there you go. Let's close this video out.
So there you go. There's the quick and dirty of it. A little bit of reasoning of why I did what I did. Having to do it again, I think that it would have, knowing what I know now, I think I still would have bought like the Jackery 300 and then built my own, the same thing. I don't think I would have bought the 160, but I don't know. It's kind of debatable. That 160 is pretty nice to just throw in a backpack and take somewhere to power a radio or something like that, which is kind of nice. But it's going to be to each their own. This is a DIY setup, and it's an overlanding rig. I call it camping. So I needed something bigger. I needed something with a little bit more battery so I could go out a little bit further. And I mean, this is cloudy here. This Jackery would not work even with solar on that thing. You can't put enough solar into it to keep it charged. And if it's raining, I mean, it's just with the 300, it's small enough to where you're constantly looking for ways to charge it. So the Jackeries, they do come with ways to charge it from a vehicle and all that, which is nice and convenient. They charge up quickly, and they're portable. I mean, that thing doesn't weigh anything hardly, and that's the really nice part of it. So, but it's just to each their own. Mine is more of a DIY, and it was at a price point that I could afford. So that's the way I did it. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, go ahead and leave them in the leave them in the description, or not in the description, in the comment section, and I'll do what I can to answer it, especially with that DIY battery. But there's some things I'm just not comfortable answering because I don't have enough knowledge. And like I said, I would rather not answer the question and steer you to somebody that can answer the question than answer the question incorrectly, because it is electricity. I mean, you could, lick your fingers and touch it and it's not going to kill you. It's real simple to put together, but like I said, I don't want to give you wrong information. So I guess that's it for this video. I'm just going to enjoy my next couple days and out in the woods, and until next time, this is my venture. You guys take it easy and go outside and do something. It's dang near summertime. Enjoy yourself. You guys have a good one.